We're also seeing visuals of the Italian president here on our screens. And in fact, very interestingly, the rapport that the Prime Minister, my sincere apologies, the Prime Minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, a very warm welcome that was reserved for her as she arrived yesterday as well. The Prime Minister, she's somebody who has also hailed the leadership of the Prime Minister. She has spoken about how the Prime Minister is the most loved leader. Akanksha, so Giorgia Meloni, we're seeing visuals of her just arriving as well. As we've been mentioning, you know, this is a very, very significant time for India as well. But apart from just being the right moment for the right country, India is also making the maximum of what it can of this moment, as we're seeing the personal rapport. Apart from that, the success of India, the growth story of India, several other economies have been struggling. India has been able to chart a path through it, which is why the world is looking at a new world order. You know, it may be a bit too early to say that, but India has played a very, very significant role in that.
Well, absolutely, and what we are witnessing right now is a historic gathering. More and more leaders are coming to Rajghat to pay homage to Mahatma Gandhi and also to lay a wreath, and they were welcomed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi with a gift of Khadi. And since he has come to power, he has been attempting to popularize Khadi, and that is why this chosen gift of Khadi was given to the leaders with a logo of G20. But definitely this sends out a message of peace and also of international unity and a respect for Mahatma Gandhi's enduring legacy. And more leaders are coming, and at the backdrop of the entry where the Prime Minister is receiving these top leaders is Sabarmati Ashram, and a message also is being given by India that the principles of Mahatma Gandhi, that is of non-violence, of peace, should be followed by the world. And definitely the leaders of the world are standing with the Prime Minister, with India, as far as peace is concerned. And this also comes at a time when the conflict is going on between Russia and Ukraine. So definitely a very strong message that India is giving. And if we talk about the summit overall, then the opening day was absolutely stellar. Two major announcements. Firstly, on the adoption of the New Delhi Declaration with 100% consensus on developmental as well as geopolitical issues. And secondly, of inclusion of African Union as a permanent member. So definitely the opening day was absolutely stellar. As far as the second day is concerned, it is going to be power-packed. After paying homage to Mahatma Gandhi and laying a wreath, all of these leaders are going to be arriving at Bharat Mandapam. Behind me, you can see this will remain the power center. They will be coming here, and there's going to be a session on One Future, because the agenda, the theme of G20 is One Earth, One Family, One Future. So that session is going to happen. After that, Prime Minister is going to have a pull-aside meeting with Canada and also bilateral meetings with a lot of other countries. A power-packed day as far as the second day is concerned, and a successful day as far as the opening day of the summit was concerned.
Okay, all right. Let's also talk about what's expected today. Of course, diplomacy, like you mentioned, is complicated, very layered, but there is also some personal touch to it, which we have been seeing with the Prime Minister. But, you know, in the G20 grouping, there are also countries that don't see eye to eye on several issues, but there has been a consensus over it, which is why it's so significant diplomatically, why it's a big victory for India. You know, the contours of G20 have been changed completely, if we could say so. Rishabh, what's expected today, you know, after a stellar day one that we had yesterday? Just take us through what's expected on day two today, G20 summit as well as the bilaterals.
Okay, before I come to that, I just wanted to add for our viewers that when it comes to Italy, and you were talking about the welcome that Italy has got, we need to understand how Italy is very, very significant to us. In Mediterranean, we have seen India's Prime Minister going to Greece. With Italy in Eastern Europe, that will the European conquest for Indian diplomacy will continue. And Italy is very, very important. Right now, Italy is the chair of G7. This after Japan. Italy will be hosting the Leaders Summit next year, and in all probability, India, which is now enjoying the status of an observer at G7, can be invited to be part of, be a full-time member of G7, making it G8. That is something that will be very, very important. Apart from that, since we were discussing the whole, Belt and Road Initiative of China and how India has countered it with the railway and port initiative with Saudi Arabia and European Union and US, Italy has just walked out of BRI. And now, given the closeness that India and Italy have been showing, in all probability, Italy might join this initiative at later stage as well. And that's the reason Italy is so important for us. In past 1 decade, we have seen India-Italy diplomatic relationship going a downward trend after the Italian Marina case back in 2011. But now in last 2 to 3 years, the warmth that both the countries have seen is extraordinary, and that diplomatically is going to pay off for both the countries. Now coming to the bilaterals today, there are a slew of bilaterals today. There are at least 9 bilaterals that we know of right now. Working lunch with Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, pull-aside meeting with Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada. There is a bilateral with EU, which is European Union, European Commission. There is bilateral with Cameroon's president, who is also the chair of African Union. That is something that is very, very interesting. There is a bilateral with Germany. So at least 9 bilaterals, and all important bilaterals. Global South, eastward expansions, westward expansions, everything will come under the gambit of bilaterals that Prime Minister will be holding after 12:30 today. Remember, this is the last day. All the leaders are expected to leave today. Joe Biden would be the first one to leave India. He'd be moving toward Vietnam, where he has a state visit, and other leaders also will start leaving Indian capital by later this evening. Only Mohammed bin Salman will stay back as state guest. He will be accorded with state honors tomorrow as a state guest. And remember, this is after a very, very long time that we have a Saudi state visit happening. The way Saudi Arabia helped us in Sudan evacuation, the relationship has seen warmth in last couple of years. But this state visit that begins tomorrow morning will add further to India's conquest, diplomatic conquest in Gulf as well.